Just great. It's been a while since I played in a game like this. I mean, the last charity was probably like more than 10 years ago. So it's great to be back here and a great turnout as well today.
What would happen if the royal wedding wasn't the way it seemed at first? Prince Mateen had all three things: power, love, and respect. But after his wife's horrible truth comes out, things will never be the same again. Could their story come to an end, or could love really win? Come with us as we tell you about this shocking and terrible turn in their story. Trust us, you won't want to miss what's coming up. The charming royal Prince Mateen was the kind of royal that everyone liked, not because he is a prince. Think about a crown prince from a story. People felt like they were important around him because of the way he looked and behaved. His smile lit up a room every time he walked in. It was more important than his royal rank or the gold on his crown. It had to do with how he made other people feel. Everyone Prince Mateen was with felt important and loved, whether they were a king, a queen, or a regular person. Because he was born into a family of kings and queens, Prince Mateen had always been taught to be both beautiful and strong. His family thought he would follow royal customs, but his love made him stand out. It wasn't just that he was another cold and distant prince. He really paid attention to everyone. At a young age, he learned how to listen well and make people happy. Many people would say that he was the prince who made them hope for good acts. He was one of a kind in more ways than one. Prince Mateen was kind and smart, and he was always willing to help. To help poor people, he planned charitable events and went to hospitals to cheer up sick kids. He also made sure his people knew he was there for them. He wasn't hiding in his castle. He was a prince out and about. His goal was to do good with his power, and he did. Prince Mateen didn't take his wealth, fame, and the love of his people for granted, even though he had all of them. He worked very hard to be the best boss he could be. He understood that being a prince meant more than just dressing well and going to fancy events. It was about setting a good example, helping others, and doing kind things every day. Since he was more than just a royal figure, he cared about people. The king and queen were very proud of him. Things can still go wrong for even the best people. Just when Prince Mateen's life looked like it couldn't get any better, something unexpected was going to happen. It would make him question everything he thought he knew about love, trust, and loyalty, and it would test him to the core. There will be hard times ahead for even the most beautiful prince. Prince Mateen was ready for one of the hardest tests. Their love story seemed perfect, but a shocking turn of events could ruin the fairy tale that everyone loved. Revealing the secrets of royal grace. He loved his wife just as much as he loved himself. Her smile lit up any room she walked into, and she seemed beautiful from the inside out. Everyone was charmed by her grace, which was not only due to her royal past but also because she cared about everyone she met. It didn't matter if it was a world leader or a child telling a story. She would pay close attention. People really liked her because they could tell she cared. Like her husband, she grew up in a royal family. Because of how well known her family was for their elegance and strict traditions, she was expected to carry on their work. She had always been the perfect princess, beautiful, classy, and always dressed to the nines. The way she spoke in public was very fancy. People always wanted to talk to her, whether she was at a charity event, a royal gala, or a culture celebration. She looked beautiful, was smart, and had a kind heart. Behind the scenes, she was a very decent woman. She worked hard all the time to improve the lives of less fortunate people because she loved helping other people. People knew about her charitable work, and she often worked with Prince Mateen to support causes that were important to both of them. The two were seen as the perfect pair because they were kind, beautiful, and always did good in the world. Their life seemed like something out of a fairy tale, and everyone loved them. Stop talking about their love story. The whole world seemed to stop and respect them every time they got together. The way they held hands, smiled at each other, and stared at each other showed that they loved each other very much. Their marriage was looked up to by all the couples in the kingdom, and no one ever thought that anything could break them up. But everyone didn't know that this ideal held secrets that were about to come to light. Even though they loved and respected each other, things weren't as good as they seemed. Princess Mateen would soon find out that her husband was lying to her about something that would change their lives forever. The unexpected revelation. One night, after a busy day of royal duties and public events, something that no one could have predicted happened. As they often did, Prince Mateen and his wife were sitting together in their own royal rooms, enjoying a quiet moment after a busy day. The prince thought it looked like his bride was a long way away. The normally happy woman changed her face into one of deep thought, as if something were bothering her. Prince Mateen didn't think much about it at first. That, or she was just tired. Or she might have been thinking about something but hadn't said anything. He reached out and gently squeezed her hand because he thought it would make her happy. For the first time in their marriage, his wife didn't smile back right away, but instead, she stared at him with sad eyes that he had never seen before. She thought for a moment while looking at their joined hands and then spoke softly and shakily. Everything would change because of what she said. A secret she had kept from him for years was told to him. This wasn't even close to being an open confession. Prince Mateen was stunned and trying hard to believe what she was saying because the truth she told him was so painful and surprising. His mind spun. He had a hard time getting what she was saying. His wife, whom he had complete faith in, had been pulling a secret from him for years. Given that, what could it be? Was she wrong? Had she kept something from him about her past? He thought about the truth more, and it hurt more she had given out more than just basic information. It wasn't a small secret or a careless mistake. It was much bigger than what it seemed like deception. His world, which had always seemed so solid, began to fall apart. It seemed like all of a sudden, his faith in her and their bond were gone. Prince Mateen's heart sank, and he worked hard to understand what this meant for their marriage and their future. After the noise, there was a terrible silence. He tried to find the right words to answer. Not just the shock of hearing it, but also the weight of it that was pushing down on him. His emotions were all over the place, angry, confused, and sad. But he didn't see how any of it made sense. Someone he had known for a long time became unknown to him all of a sudden. Their link looked weak now, and he wasn't sure if it would ever be the same again. As the minutes went by, Prince Mateen could feel that his surroundings were changing. Is there anything he could forgive? Could he trust her again? Instead, has everything changed for good? When someone betrays the prince, his whole world falls apart. Will he be able to get through the pain, or is this the breaking point? Prince Mateen's tears. Prince Mateen sat there in stunned silence, not being able to handle the strong feelings that were flooding him. After she told him, the perfect picture of their life together was gone. The world was turned upside down, and all the carefully built walls he had put up around his feelings had come down. For the first time in a long time, Prince Mateen felt small and open to attack. He was completely shocked. It was easy for people to follow his lead because he was always the strong, sure-of-himself prince. He was used to handling things in a calm and gentle way. The truth was now in front of him, though, and he was swept away by strong emotions. Feelings of betrayal, doubt, and grief whirled around him like a storm he couldn't get away from. Not only did she break his trust, but she also made him realize that everything he thought about his wife and their marriage might not be true. As he sat there, the tears he had been holding back began to come out. For a short time, he didn't care that he was a prince or what people thought. All that mattered to him was the deep, physical pain he felt. He had always been proud of how strong and calm he was, but at that moment he was just a man hurting in a way he didn't know was possible. His mind was full of questions. What could she have kept from him that was so important? Why didn't she tell him before? Was their love not enough to help her tell the truth? He had a lot of ideas for answers to these questions, but none of them made sense. The woman he had promised to spend the rest of his life with and fully trusted had broken his trust in a way he could never have imagined. Prince Mateen wiped his tears away as he tried to pull himself together. No matter how hard he tried, the pain would not go away. He couldn't sleep because of what his wife's confession meant for their future together. Will you ever be able to forgive her? After everything that had happened, could he trust her again? There was real mental turmoil, The prince began to doubt what he knew about love, loyalty, and trust because of his heartache and fear. Not just sad tears, but tears of confusion as well, as a man tried to make sense of a truth that didn't seem to fit with the life he had always imagined. He had no idea how to make things better because he didn't know how to move forward. Would he ever be able to rest easy? Could their marriage handle this wave of feelings? Reactions from the public. The effects of Prince Mateen's wife's revelation began to spread outside the royal walls as soon as his inner turmoil subsided. People soon talked about what had been a very private time for the couple. The media would have liked to keep the details of their problem a secret, but when it involved a well-known person like the prince, they were quick to look into it. The press, which is always looking for scandals, picked up on the problem almost right away. Soon, the media was full of questions, and stories spread so quickly that no one could keep up. What had happened between the royal couple? What caused Prince Mateen to be seen crying? There was a lot of speculation because newspapers and other news sources reported on every possible outcome. Some writers thought the wife had lied to Prince Mateen in a very dramatic way, while others thought their marriage had problems at the core. Their relationship was once praised as the perfect love story, but now headlines question the whole base of their relationship. The royal family thought the situation was touchy. They had to keep an eye on Prince Mateen and his wife while also keeping the people from asking too many questions. The royal family got together behind closed doors to talk about what was going on. There were serious talks about the best way to handle the media frenzy. Even though they backed their son, the king and queen knew that people would likely be very angry. Their desire to protect their child was strong, but they also knew that the truth could not be hidden forever. The image of their family was at stake, so they had to be careful. When it came to Prince Mateen's close friends and advisors, they stood by him in secret. They tried to comfort him by telling him that everyone, even kings, has problems in life. Still, words of support couldn't heal the terrible pain he was going through. Not only from his wife, but also from the things that were happening in his life that were making it so unstable and painful. It was clear that he needed time, even though he didn't have much of it since everyone was watching him. The news showed that there was a broken marriage at the royal house, but Prince Mateen's private talks with his wife were even more complicated. Even though they both knew that the admission hurt their trust in each other, they didn't talk much about it with other people. People used to think it was a love story for all time, like a fragile glass that was cracked but not quite broken. Could they get the pieces together? On the other hand, would the damage be too great to fix? The path to healing. The days and weeks after the reveal, Prince Mateen and his wife went down a path neither of them had ever planned. They used to have a lot of royal duties and celebrations, but now their lives seemed skewed by stress and insecurity. But the couple knew that if they wanted to get better, they would have to face the bad things they had been hiding for so long and get past their mental turmoil. Even though he was badly hurt, Prince Mateen chose to talk to his wife. It was clear to him that ignoring the problem or acting like everything was fine would only make things worse. She had to tell him the secret she had been keeping from him. It was time to finally tell him the truth. They had to be honest about the choices that were made, why those choices were made, and how they can rebuild trust. Their conversations went on for a long time and were tough. It seemed like every phrase held a lot of weight, and every word felt like it lifted another layer of pain. Still, they knew that was the only way to move forward. After they got married, they started to pay attention to the less exciting parts of life, like public events, charitable work, and royal duties, instead of just the fun stuff. They paid close attention to each other. They talked about the hard parts of their past, like the times their relationship had ended and been misunderstood. The wife talked about how her behavior was caused by guilt and sorrow. She knew she had to be honest, but it was hard for her to say. Because she was a princess and a wife, she had to deal with a lot of standards. She talked about these demands. She talked about how her worries and fears had kept her hidden, even though she knew it was wrong. It gave an explanation instead of an excuse. Prince Mateen heard. He felt torn between how hurt he was that she had betrayed him and how much he still loved her. He had a hard time understanding why she was acting the way she was, but over time, he began to see. They knew they had to be ready to forgive each other and work through their problems together in order to make progress. But it wasn't easy or quick to get better. They made small steps toward getting back together over the course of several weeks. Because they didn't have to deal with the stresses of royal life, they spent more time alone, out of sight of everyone else. By going to therapy classes, they tried to get their confidence back. Even though they felt frustrated, hopeless, and even angry at times, the road wasn't easy. But they were learning how to talk to each other and understand each other better the whole time. Healing also provided a way to grow, even though it was a long and uncertain path. The prince and his wife knew that their marriage could get through anything as long as they were willing to work at it. They both knew they had done wrong, but they also knew that true love requires both forgiveness and understanding. Could they get past it? Time would tell, but one thing was clear. They were determined to slowly try to fix the faith that had been broken and heal the wounds. A broken marriage and a chance to make things right. Will Prince Mateen's forgiveness be enough to fix things, or not? A new beginning, or an end? Things got worse for Prince Mateen and his wife over the course of several months. Their relationship, which used to be perfect, had been put to the test in unthinkable ways. As they worked to heal and rebuild trust, they knew it was time to decide whether to stay together or break up. Prince Mateen had to make a hard choice. Even though he had forgiven her, the scar and the pain of the betrayal were still there. He loved his wife very much, but he wasn't sure if their marriage could ever get better. Could he trust her the same way again? Would things ever feel like they do now? He and his wife both felt bad about what they did. Even though she said she was sorry, she realized that the damage was already done. Sorry, I wouldn't make the damage go away because she hurt him. Even though she loved him, she knew that love might not be enough to heal the hurt she had caused. One evening, they both sat still and thought. The choice was very important to both of them. The last thing Prince Mateen said was that he needed more time to get things in order. Even though the damage was always there, he looked for peace before making a choice. With tears in her eyes, his wife knew what he meant. She had been patient the whole time because she knew it would take time to get better. The choice wasn't made that night. This kind of decision-making can't be done in just one talk. Their future would depend on how well they could fix and rebuild their relationship, whether they were together or apart. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. Click on the next video popping up on your screen to keep watching.